at the time. I was working with what people would describe as the scum of society. Like, people don't get to know people's stories if they find out one thing about them that disgusts them.
Correct.
So with these individuals, these clients that I'm working with, I have to push past what the average person would think, which is what I would think too, to get their backstory and then understand, well, how could you do this to a 2-year-old? How could you do this to a 10-year-old, you know? And being able to understand and say, okay, now we have to work through that is really difficult, because when you start working with someone, especially like juveniles who were adjudicated of a crime, when they come to you, they're still in the mindset, the court mindset. So, you know, when people are in court, the court mindset is say as least as possible, don't take responsibility for anything, you know. So then once you're guilty, you're adjudicated, then you go to the treatment facility, but you're still in the same mindset. So how does treatment start if you're still in the same mindset of,
and who do you trust to?
Right.
How is it that this information that I could potentially give you going to harm me moving forward?
Right.
And I mean, I've never really had experience in that area, but I'm just thinking in real time, it would be really, really difficult to see many upsides to it, because I think a lot of times people that experience those things, it happened to them.
Right.
So they're repeating a situation.
So what we end up dealing with is, not only am I trying to understand and empathize, but I'm dealing with somebody who's in a mindset of, I'm not going to take responsibility, and so I might come across as arrogant. I might have an attitude. I might, you know, they're master manipulators. So then how do I empathize with someone who did something heinous, and now I have to like try to keep it calm and cool and understand through like your arrogance and anger issues, and then you have some that are just straight up psychotic.
They're just ain't no help.
So it was just like it was a lot, and it was a burnout job because you don't make that much money, you know. So
and you're stressed out.
Like
I can't imagine, because I have friends that work in sort of like in correction officers, or work in different systems, jail systems and stuff like that, different jobs in there, and they say, you know, that 12 to 15 hours that they're in that world, they are in that world, and to come out of it and go to a bar and hang out, they have to click down, like click, and be able to go, okay, let that off for a day or half a day to go right back in there. And so when you were doing that, was there any person that you thought like, well, maybe I helped that one person to be a better person?
Absolutely. And that was my thing. If I could prevent at least one other person from being victimized, then I was like, my job is done, you know. But I feel like we helped a lot. But I am gonna say this: whenever I do see like little articles on social media of somebody doing something, I'll be like, oh, please don't let it be
one of your kids,
one of my kids.
Yeah, because like, let me tell you, this is a thing that I love about doing Top Billing and having a podcast where we can meet people, because everybody's journey is just different. Like we don't know where we're going. We may start here, right? Like just think about being in a job like you had, being a therapist, dealing with some of the most emotional and sort of, you know, heinous and crazy things, and then turn around and become an influencer and make women feel good about themselves. Like that is incredible.
I was a little nervous. I'm gonna tell you why.
It's a big turn.
I'm gonna tell you why. When I was working at so right out of grad school.
Okay. Did you see right out of grad school, guys? Right out of grad school. Go ahead. Right
out of grad school, I was looking for a job, couldn't find a job. I got approached to model for Smooth magazine.
I remember Smooth.
Yes. I got the chance.
That's late 90s, right?
90s. Mine was of course in the 2000s.
You're a little younger than me. Sorry, I kind of dated myself. Sorry, guys.
So I got a chance to model for them. Now I had never modeled before.
Okay.
No, nothing. I needed a job. I was like, oh, maybe if I do this, like I'll, get a chance to make some money or whatever. And so I met with a casting director. He casted me. I ended up getting the cover.
I can see that.
Yeah, I got the cover, and I wasn't expecting that because I wasn't really like.
You're like, I'm not a model yet.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just doing this.
Yeah, so I got the cover, and I was like, oh shit. And then I ended up getting that job working with the sex offenders. So then it was like, it came out.
God.
Right.
That's the worst thing you could have done was be on the cover of Smooth, and then your smooth ass kind of walk in here and deal with these crazy.
And I got like hand bras, so lingerie. So it's like, oh no. So then one of the kids went to the barbershop on a home pass. Oh no. And they had the magazine on the table in the barbershop. And I was like, oh, he brought it to Lord, when I tell you my supervisors,
they was hot. They was hot. Because Smooth Magazine but the thing about Smooth Magazine was it was like just sexy.
Yeah.
Like it was right at the borderline. Like, it's the poses are sexy. You don't see nothing, but you imagine. You know what I mean? I remember Smooth. I have several copies. Excuse me. Am I telling on myself there? I'm sorry. Excuse me.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Do what you gotta. Anyway, so that was, oh my God, that was unfortunate.
It got brought up pretty much like once a year. I have all my superiors pull me in, and they're like, "So it happened again," and I'm like, "Another one." So I used to be afraid that I was gonna get fired. So I used to be walking on eggshells
all the time
at that job, thinking, and then. What young boys do, they'll take one thing that they see and they're like, oh, it was lesbian porn or something like that. And I'm like, wait, I was just modeling.
I wasn't even doing nothing.
Nobody else.
Right. Nobody was in my picture.
So my supervisors are like, yeah, so we got wind that there was some lesbian porn. And I'm like, no.
They just trying to get you fired, man.
Right. So once I left that job, it was like,
okay,
whatever. Okay, that I had that modeling. They like me in that industry.
Yeah.
Like, so we can get back into it. Let's go. Like, where are we at?
Yeah. Well, this is the thing where I just go with my gut, and this is where I think you excel and why you're successful and you're on your path, because you are courageous enough to keep moving. Like, you're over here, boom, I fell, okay, I'm gonna get up, boom. You know what I'm saying? I didn't mean to do that, but I did. Okay, keep moving. And that's what I think is the difference between people who become super successful and people who get stuck, right? We all have setbacks.
Right.
You know what I mean?